Final from NRG is Texans 15, Broncos 18. Jason Bristol, Zach Tawatari from the KHO U11 newsroom as we are breaking down this game, which was quite the effort by the Texans. We'll also hear from DeMeco Ryans and presumably Davis Mills, who relieved CJ Stroud, who left the game with an injury. Your instant reaction to what we just saw from NRG?
That was a slugfest.
It was.
It was ugly. It was a boxing match, and the Texans couldn't knock them out. 0 for 3 in the red zone. We've said it all year. Field goals weren't going to cut it then. They aren't going to cut it now. And that's really what ends up being the story.
Without a doubt. Of course, as always, we're accepting your one word to describe this one. Our boards are blank, so we need you to help us out. Tell us, give us your one word from what we saw as we are, again, breaking down this game and waiting to hear from DeMeco Ryans following this 18-15 loss. When you look at the numbers, it was a slugfest. Bo Nix, 18 of 37 for 173, 2 touchdowns and 1 INT. He was sacked once. I will give the offensive line for the Texans. I thought they were decent given everything that they were struggling or dealing with.
Yeah.
And then also when you consider this defense which you were facing, they allowed 4 sacks for 25 yards, which against a team that was leading the NFL by 10 or double digits coming into this game. I thought the defense, I think the offensive line was pretty good.
Yeah, they held up, right, against the Broncos defensive line. That was the big question mark coming into this game. Would the Texans offensive line be up to the task of dealing with probably the best offense or defensive line in the NFL, next to the Texans, that is? Well, they did. They did all right. They weren't really able to run the ball today, but obviously you lose your quarterback in the second quarter. That's a huge part of the equation, and it really was just kind of going to be a clunky game, I think, one way or the other.
Given that the score was tied right up until the end, when you look at the total yards in this game, Denver 271, Texans 268. It was that kind of game. Again, we are waiting to hear from DeMeco Ryans from NRG. Third down efficiency, and this is where we get into the issues with the offense for the Texans. 3 of 17 on third down for Houston. Denver wasn't great, but it was 6 of 15. Average yards per play, 4.4 for Denver, 3.7 for the Texans. And then when you look at turnovers, 2. Fumbles lost, interceptions thrown. Texans won the turnover battle. And if you look at, listen to Nick Caserio, he's all about the turnover battle, And you could argue that the Texans, I would say, won the special teams battle. The missed field goal by Kayami, not really factoring that in.
They got it back because DeMeco blocked one.
It was all there for the Texans.
Their defense, their special teams were great today. I thought that defensively they did everything they could against a young, dynamic Bo Nix. You saw him really thrown into trouble a couple of times, Jason. He was playing with fire with the Texans secondary. They made him pay a couple times, but there's only going to be so many times you can hold him down. And to hold this Broncos offense to 18 points, we talked about how good this offense was all week coming into this game. To hold them to 18 points, it really comes down to your not being able to score that you lose this game. Your defense, your special teams did everything they could.
Let's give a look now at what's happening at NRG, if we could show the podium as we're waiting for DeMeco Ryans to appear. Some of the words or some of the comments coming in. Justin Singleton. Justin, good to see you. Texans defense will always keep them in games. You've been saying it. We've been saying it. We continue to say it and will continue to say it throughout the rest of the 2025 season. Brennan says defense did what they could. The other half of the ball, such a nightmare, always has been. Yes. Joe Gardner says change QB 10 to number 16. Joe said it is for the next game. We don't know that for certain, but you look at the general history of players with concussions. They usually miss the next game. I don't have any scientific proof of that, but that seems to be
the protocol is
yeah.
typically a week or more, right? So
Justin says, what annoyed me is Kaylee kept trying to run it up the gut in the red zone against one of the best red zone defenses.
You said it. I mean,
and they did that. They tried to do that against Seattle too.
And what about the game against the Bucs at home when they were first and goal on the 1, and they failed to score there as well? Now they did try to throw a pass, albeit a fade in the end zone, not a very high percentage play, but again, where are the in-between plays? You know, a play that has a high chance of success but isn't just running the ball up the middle 3 times in a row and not being able to score.
And here's DeMeco Ryans, so let's listen in.
DeMeco, you all had 6 plays inside the 2-yard line and didn't score. How do you grapple with that fact?
To start for us, it wasn't good enough. We were in the red zone multiple times. As an offense there at the 1-yard line, had multiple opportunities to get it in. That's just about, it's sheer willpower. To me, it's at the 1-yard line. We got to find a way to, displace guys at the line of scrimmage and punch the football in, right? And that's what it takes in that situation. We didn't get it done. Multiple other opportunities in the red zone. We came up short. Right? We made it in the red zone 3 times. Like to see us convert and get in the end zone versus a really good Denver team. Credit to those guys. They did an outstanding job. Defensively, they did a good job of getting stops. They needed to get stops. We didn't play well in the red zone. We didn't play well on 3rd down. So if you don't win in those situational, critical moments of the game, it's going to be hard to win it.
How disappointing was it that your defense was able to get 3 straight stops there before their last drive, and you guys weren't able to get anything going on offense?
It's disappointing as a team. We didn't finish the game. Right, the defense, they did a good job of getting stops multiple times. We just sputtered there offensively. We lacked some being able to move the ball. We lacked just being able to sustain drives there in the second half. It just wasn't good enough. We kind of sputtered along, had quick 3 and outs. When it's not good enough, we need to be able to move the ball there.
From your vantage point, just take us through that CJ Stroud play where he got injured. Just what were you kind of seeing, things of that nature?
Yeah, CJ scrambled. Of course, he slid, and the guy, came up and hit him. As I see, it's unnecessary roughness. He hit the quarterback when he's sliding and giving himself up. If I'm incorrect on the rule, I've seen that happen multiple times, with our guys, and we get the penalty, but for some reason, it just didn't happen there. So we'll look at the film and see, what actually happened there. At the end of the day, we lost our starting quarterback, all right, because of the play. And anytime you lose your starting quarterback, it's always tough. Davis battled, tried to do a good job there. He battled, but we just didn't do well offensively once we lost CJ.
Hey, DeMeco, I know you always talk about next man up and you guys are always ready, but talk about just the challenge of losing not just CJ, but Titus and Christian. And you had a lot of guys go down today.
Yeah, a lot of guys went down, Kim, and it's easy to stand up here and make excuses about, at the end of the day, I truly believe, that happens all across the league all the time. And you don't make excuses about who's in the game or who's not in the game. All right, we still had an opportunity there to close the game out and win it. Right? It's just a matter of, are you remaining disciplined in the moment? Are you playing the way you're supposed to play, doing the things you need to do to win the game? Everybody has to pull their weight. No matter who you are, when you get your opportunity, right, to play in that game, if you suit up, you have to be ready to go out and execute and play good football.
Coach, on that last offensive possession that you all had, was there any thought to maybe running the clock down just a little bit more, especially with the Broncos having 2 timeouts left?
Yeah, the thought there, we wanted to get quick passes to get us moving. We're trying to drive down and, of course, try to get in field goal range. But to have a couple quick incompletions, it was not the plan at all for us.
Was there something that they adjusted or changed? Davis came out, was moving the ball okay, and then it felt like Denver kind of adjusted to him a little bit. Was there something that you saw that they changed or did to kind of get to him?
I thought Vance did what he always does. He mixed up his coverages a lot. Some drop 8 coverages that he's shown on tape. So he did a good job of mixing it up. We just have to again, we have to be able to make the plays we need to make. We got to run the ball better, all right? And we just got to be able to finish drives. It's third down for me. You go 3 of 17 on third down, that's not winning football.
Coach, could you, right before the half, I think it was Xavier Hutchinson, the play right there by the 35-yard line, went out and he wasn't tackled. His momentum carried him out of bounds, but they kept the clock running. What did the official tell you? Because he was not tackled in bounds.
Yeah, he said that his knee was down.
DeMeco, how do you weigh not having your starting quarterback for much of the game versus the continued inefficiency of the offense?
Yeah, for me, again, I go back to if you're in, it's all about just doing your job. Whatever your job entails, it really, to me, yeah, well, you want your best players in all the time. Yeah, if I could draw it up that way, I would make sure CJ didn't get hurt. The guy didn't hit CJ like that, and we were in a good spot to continue to press forward and drive the football. But we don't control that. So what do you control? Whoever steps in, are you doing your job? Are you doing what you're supposed to do to help the team win the game?
Can you just talk about that play with Bo Nix being able to take off running for the 25-yard scramble at the very end of the game? Was it just a broken coverage play or bad pursuit?
Yeah, I mean, Bo made a great play there. I think we held him in check for most of the game, and in a critical moment, there it is. Their guy stepped up, and he made a play. That's what the NFL is about. He made a play. He scrambled, got out on us. We knew that was the case, but our game plan this week was about remaining disciplined for 4 quarters. Right, that's how we rush the quarterback, how we operate in coverage, being where we're supposed to be. And in the fourth quarter, right, we had a lack of discipline there, and some other times throughout the game, lack of discipline allowed them to get in scoring position and also score a couple times on us.
You mentioned in the second half you guys kind of sputtered. Obviously, CJ wasn't out there. How much do you feel like the offense kind of missed having that starting quarterback?
Every offense is going to miss their starting quarterback. I mean, yeah, we want our starting quarterback in the game at any given time. We want him in the game. That's why he's a starting quarterback. But it's no excuses. A lot of teams have won games with backup quarterbacks before. And we had our opportunity. We had our chance. The Broncos did a great job. Coach Payton did a great job. Those guys made play. Vance did a great job defensively. There's a well-coached team. Those guys did a great job. Their young quarterback stepped up, made a play when he needed to make a play. We had our opportunities. There in the fourth quarter, we didn't make the play. That's NFL football right there. We got to be on the other side of that, make a play, get the ball out, get a drive going there to get us in field goal range, and we're standing here looking a little different. We're good. Yeah, for us offensively, again, it all goes back to, and it's in the red zone. We got to do a better job of finding a way to get in the end zone. Like, if we can't get in the end zone, score points, it's going to be hard. All right, thank you, guys.
So there is DeMeco Ryans from NRG. A lot of things which we were saying he repeated during that news conference, including, you mentioned the word sputtered. I talked about third down, and we both talked about red zone, and sure enough, those are the big things that DeMeco mentioned, including when you're in close, inside the 5-yard line, it's about sheer willpower. Yeah. And he also said there was a lack of being able to move the ball. So, in other words, this Sunday, it is not National Nick Caley Day. For those of you who watch, last Sunday was National Nick Caley Day. Today was not National Nick Caley Day.
No, it was not. Amazing how much things can change in just 1 week, but the more they change, the more they stay the same. Because the reality is everything DeMeco said today about this Texans loss is everything we've been talking about all season, even back into last season when the Texans had a different offensive coordinator. The reality is that they have struggled with red zone efficiency for 2.5 seasons. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just it's it's surprising to me that they could struggle as much as they do, considering where they are even within the red zone. You're on the 1 yard line. You're literally on the 1 yard line, and you're unable to score. One touchdown in this game would have made a very big difference.
Yeah.
This is a very low scoring
Obviously.
game. One touchdown would have made a big difference. And it continues to be surprising, but it's not surprising.
Correct. Let's get to some of these one words before we revisit the comments section. Justin gave us expected. Thank you, Justin. Let's see. I want to give proper credit. Jim said lousy. Dennis said frustrating. I used this on X, but I don't know if I wrote valiant. It was a valiant effort. I don't know if that works.
You're giving a lot of credit, Jason. I'm not going that far.
Okay, what are you saying?
My word is #Texans.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means that this is the Texans' style of football. This is what it has become.
So expected, maybe.
It is expected.
All right.
This is my variation of expected. #Texans. When you think about Texans football, this is exactly what you think about. Play great defense, have a phenomenal quarterback. Obviously, he came out of the game today, but struggled to score on offense consistently and make the game very, very close in the end and be unable to put the other team away.
Let's see here. Here's some comments. Doug just put a toilet bowl on emoji. Justin says, if he wants to go get in on the red zone, tell your OC to stop running up the gut against a good red zone defense, which is also what Zach said. And now let's hear from Davis Mills, who filled in for CJ.
For you guys being able to move the football today.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you get an opportunity to go out there and play, I mean, it's a lot of fun, obviously. Hate the circumstances. Never want to see CJ go down like that. But, I mean, it's kind of what my job is right now. I got to be ready for any situation, and felt like I was fully prepared and ready to go out there and play at a high level. And then the second part of that, I thought, I mean, we were operating really well. Had a lot of really good drives, and then kind of just sputtered out when we got in the red zone. Obviously, we get down to the 1 yard line like twice, red zone 4 or 5 times, and got to come out of those drives with touchdowns rather than field goals. I mean, that's the biggest difference in the game.
Is there something you can kind of put your finger on that's led to some of the red zone struggles?
I think it's just we got to keep executing. Obviously, a lot of props to that Denver defense. They have a lot of good players on that side of the ball. It was a challenge for us, but, I mean, we have a lot of guys on our team who are fully capable of going out there and winning each play and making good football plays. So I think we got to keep pressing forward and keep preparing for our next opponent and find ways to get better from this game to go out there and execute.
That final offensive drive, you guys ended up throwing the ball 3 times, and then the completion took it out of bounds. Was that kind of the plan, was to get going through the air and try to get those points there?
Yeah, I mean, we got the ball back with, I mean, 1 minute and 14 seconds or something, 2 timeouts. So we're going down trying to score, or at least get in field goal range for Amy to make a field goal and win the game. So, I mean, we just unfortunately couldn't do it, but that's football.
Was there something that Denver adjusted or did? It looked like you came in and kind of were able to move the ball a little bit easier, and then it felt like it was a little bit tougher as Denver maybe made some adjustments. Was there something you saw?
Nothing crazy. I mean, I think just overall game plan wise, they might have pressured a little less than what we expected. I mean, credit to them. They played a good game. Defense coordinator called a good game. But, I mean, like I said, I think we got guys in our room on our side of the ball that can go out there and execute. We just unfortunately didn't do it today.
Davis, you've been a part of this program for years where it's gone through the rebuilding processes. How do you make sure that the younger guys are able to understand that one game doesn't define your season and it doesn't continue to spiral out of control to where you get into the end of November and it feels like that it's far too much to make up for it in terms of lost ground?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that, I mean, really we all do a good job of recognizing is how grateful of an opportunity we all have we're playing a kids game professionally, and it's pretty cool to go out there and compete every Sunday. But I think the biggest thing for them is just continuing to find a way to improve each week, especially with the young guys. They're young in this league. There's always things we can do better to get better as an offense. And the way you look at it, you're still early in the season. Nothing's ruled out yet. We got a lot of good players on our team. We got a lot of good football ahead of us, and we just got to keep pressing forward and go out there and play our best ball.
Dave, so it comes to the bigger picture of this offense. What haven't you guys tried at this point to kind of get some consistency and put something together?
That's kind of hard to answer. Like, what haven't we tried? I think we have a very complex offense in a good way. We have a lot of ways to attack defenses, and it's kind of week to week. We have a different game plan and how we're going to do that. Kind of the trend over the years, really the past couple of years, is you get a lot of kind of too high over the top defense, too high shell, and a lot of pass rushers have developed extremely well the past couple of years. There's a lot of guys on that side of the ball who are, if you don't get kind of double teams on, they're gonna make a couple plays throughout the game. So we got to continue to be efficient, get the ball out to a lot of our playmakers, and kind of keep trekking along and put long drives together. And I think we've done a good job of that. We just got to cap it off in the end zone once we get down there.
All good? Cool. What last one right here? Davis, did you notice at any point throughout the game that there were kind of just a few throws where maybe timing would be a little bit better? You would have been in stride to be able to reach either Christian or DeMeco downfield?
Potentially, yeah. Obviously there's always a couple plays you want back or plays that you think you could execute better. But like I said, we just got to keep pressing forward, have a really good week of practice going into this next week, and find a way to get a win at home.
Thank you all.
Cool. Thanks.
And there you have it, Davis Mills following this 18-15 loss to the Denver Broncos. Keep up the comments. We'll get to them. I do want to mention this one real quick. I'm So Houston says, don't blame Ryans. It's not the head coach. Look exactly at the coordinator's offense. I will push back on that because DeMeco Ryans has even said publicly, if you're going to point fingers, point them at me.
He has.
He has. Those were his exact words.
He has said that.
So blame DeMeco Ryans. Blame DeMeco Ryans. That's what he said.
That's what he says. You have to take his word for it.
Mm-hmm. And we have Justin says they just put Janice McNair in the Ring of Honor. They could have given her a win. Could have.
They could have won a lot of games this season.
Daniel says those punts should have been touchdowns. Justin, the kicker is the bulk of their offense year after year. He needs another raise. Steven writes crushing, which I think goes to a word that you want to add a new word, right, to your list?
I've got a new word.
Okay.
After I continue to hear the same things.
And it was after the question about what kind of things
have you tried?
Or what's left to try?
Shake things up.
And Davis Mills says that's kind of hard to answer. Yeah. What haven't we tried?
He also said it's still
early in the season. Yeah, that's where. Yeah, still early in the season.
Denial.
The river in Egypt.
We hear the same things week after week. It's week 9.
Mm-hmm.
Things haven't changed.
So right now, you're more than halfway through the season.
That's right. It's not early. If by early you mean late, then yes, it's getting late.
Also,
denial
with this group, the fact that Davis said, "What haven't we tried?" Well, if that's the case, then perhaps the talent evaluators, the people who are evaluating what's on this Texans team in the front office, coaching room, maybe they've swung and missed badly, that this team isn't as good as they think it is. And sometimes I'm not 100% certain they even know the best course of action with their own personnel, i.e. playing Brandon playing Barrios at punt returner when we see what Jalen Noel can do? Or rotating guards with Laken Tomlinson and Juice Scruggs.
Sometimes you get the feeling that they just do things to do them.
Or they are so into versatility. They're
Yeah.
so into versatility and making
Right.
sure the guys
Right.
can play all over the field and do multiple things. Why not just stick them where they're good at?
Or stick with the hot hand.
Yeah.
You know, in certain instances, it's surprising.
Another word, I think it was Steven, says crushing. I wrote that. Lupita.
Yeah, and Steven, you might look back at the end of this season, at this week, with, you know, CJ unfortunately going down. We obviously hope that he is okay and hope he gets back as soon as possible. But you may look back at the end of this season and realize that this is where they started to run out of momentum, just because of the way that everything is transpiring.
Lupita wrote it all in one word, but I don't know. I think it probably needs a hashtag. She wrote dumpster fire, but I think you need a hashtag in there to have it actually qualify as one word. I pulled this up, and I was busy scribbling notes. The red zone, even in the best of times, well, I shouldn't say that. Even in the best of times recently, the Texans have struggled inside the red zone. When you look at, they were 0 for 3 in this game against Denver. San Francisco game, in which DeMeco Ryans, following the ball game, said Nick Caley's done a great job again.
Been doing a great job.
Been doing a great job. He said, did another great job again.
Yeah.
They were 1 of 5 in the red zone in that game. They were 1 of 3 against Seattle. That is 2 for 11 in their last 3 games.
And
No such proclamations today about how great of a job that your OC's doing. And maybe, because on the calendar it does not say National Nick Caley Day, as it was last Sunday. That's what Zach called it, because it was National Tight Ends Day, and Zach said this is actually National Nick Caley Day.
But here's the thing. Just like we talked about last week, after you win a game, it's amazing how the discussion after the game can kind of, you know, let's cover up all the negative.
Well, they can definitely control the narrative a lot. Yeah.
But when you lose, that's really a more accurate reflection of where you stand, because you can't, as you say, control the narrative in the same way. And we try to, you know, stay even.
Yeah.
Right? Throughout every week. We try to keep it real with what actually happened that week. And even last week, so many people are so happy about the win.
And then DeMeco comes on and says a couple of those things. I was just floored. I just could not believe about the idea that Nick Caley has been doing a great job.
This week and last week have a lot more in common than people might think.
No, that's a good
point. You may have won one game and you lost the other one, but the team's not performing that much differently. And that's the point, right? That's the point of what bears out over an entire season.
Some more comments. Tian, we need to play the rook quarterback because Mills just ain't it. 5 years with the team, he's never been it. There were a lot of Davis Mills people that thought, but he's a backup quarterback. I didn't think he played that badly. I thought he was okay. He's not the long-term answer. I mean, he's no CJ.
But they moved the ball.
They did move the ball.
It's not like they didn't have opportunities to score.
Things would have been really bad with Graham Mertz, who was inactive today. I don't know if you think things went badly today.
Yeah.
If they had Graham Mertz in there, it would have been against that defense. If it's the Titans or something like that, I would say, okay, maybe. But Justin says now the defense is elite. They're at least an AFC championship caliber defense. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think that's true.
And then I just lost my other comments here. I don't know what just happened. But
somebody said we can't win with you.
Yeah, and then I think Justin mentioned about how Landry Locker, who is a frequent guest here in the KHO 11 News Studios, about how once they get something going, they'll go away from it. What you were saying, and then also with about Jalen Noel, that as well. So let's see, top comments. Here they are, and there they go again. But anyhow, that's I don't know what happened. I had a bunch of comments, and now they're all gone. You know what? I'm kind of like the Texans, to borrow DeMeco's diagnosis that I just can't finish well, because we were going so strong with the comments, and now that we're in the fourth quarter about to wrap this up, I can't find them and things are going haywire. Maybe because on my screen I'm frozen. Maybe that has something to do with it. But anyhow, and here we go. We got them. And then they go away again.
There you go.
So Justin says Landry Locker has said multiple times they will do something good and then go away from it, utilizing Jalen Noel. Jeff wants to trade Mills for Shedeur Sanders. Tian says he did move the ball, but a lot of times he's looking around as if to say, what am I doing out here? Lost. Well, there's a lot of, I think, the red zone. Yeah, it's just, it really is amazing that we thought, what'd you predict, 9 wins? You thought 9 wins?
I said 9.
Yeah, I said 10. And now to look back, it's not that hard to think that with this defense, but even I still said I'm not sure about this offensive line. I'm not sure about the offense, and sure enough, that's been.
And we weren't sure about the running game, and it turns out that everything we thought was going to happen before the season, it's all come true.
And if we can diagnose that, why aren't the people over at Kirby diagnosing that? Is it your word? Is it your word?
It's got to be part of it, right?
Denial?
It's got to be part of it. Like, almost that there's so much hype surrounding your team that you feel like there's no possible way that they can fail. And I feel like the Texans coming into this season had everything that you need to have a championship level franchise.
Yep.
Okay? They had the build-up, they had the names, they had the couple seasons of success leading up to it. They had the age, them being a younger team on the rise. They had all the makings
on a rookie quarterback contract.
Yes, but the one thing that they have not had is the execution, and ultimately, really, that is the most important thing. But I almost wonder if I say all that to say I wonder if, you know, even within the organization, they kind of fall into this, you know, romanticized version ahead of the season of what their team is versus really objectively seeing those problems and being honest with themselves.
Maybe they're looking too much at the ceiling and not as much at the floor. That they thought if everything goes right, if everything goes right with this offensive line, Ed Ingram has been an incredible pickup. Without a doubt. Like Ed Ingram, what he's been able to do, how you acquired him. But these other moves have been, I don't want to say disasters, but you've thrown money away on a number of these moves with guys that either aren't here or aren't here, now that I'm thinking about it, when I go through the names.
Yeah.
A couple of more comments. Tyler says, new OC, Nick Caley isn't it? Multiple red zone appearances and no TDs. Got to change this. I agree. But here's the thing. You can't, like, change an entire offensive system during the season.
They're in it.
The Colts lost today as well. Justin brings that up. Thank you, Justin. Zach and I were talking about that before we came on here and thinking, man, you just wasted a golden opportunity. Would have been great to win today, Justin says. And the people on Kirby seem to be prideful, like they could do no wrong, and that everyone else, included the media, doesn't know what they're talking about. Justin, that's kind of like a symptom of the Patriots pill, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Texans need an experienced
kind of
offensive
attitude.
coach. I don't know. I don't know if they do or they don't. I just know what they have. It's clearly – I was thinking when they were down on the 1, I was thinking, okay, here's a perfect time after the first running play, do a CJ sneak.
Yeah.
But then they waited and then did it on the final 4th down play, which then got pushed back because of the offsides call on Tay Ursery. And
2 penalties in those red zone situations, as you just mentioned, one of those penalties, and that speaks to the lack of discipline.
They're not diagnosing it because they feel there's good in the people they've picked and it'll get better, but we're running out of time. You can't hire a person who's never played calls and experience and expect them to take us straight to the Super Bowl. Unless the name is like Shanahan or something like that, and even McVay. I understand he's from the McVay school, but is he really from the McVay school? I don't know.
This is not a building team.
No, and they've even said that they tore the offense down to the studs basically to rebuild everything, and during the offseason
to win now.
And this is what you get. This is what you get, and it's clearly not working. And it's either if you're listening to what Davis Mills just said, that what haven't we tried, then clearly it's the players, or at least that's a big part of it. DeMeco's even called out the players.
He has.
Clearly something is not right, but I agree with you, Tian, that, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, they feel there's good in the people. They feel that they get these guys who are smart and swarm and toughness and all that, and and they've swung on some guys that had not so great reputations and then got them out of the building rather quickly when it hasn't gone right. But it's just it's not good. And again, the big thing is we keep saying the same things over and over and over. And you could take this what we're doing here, and you probably could have played this one 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, because it's typically the same thing every game. Anything else?
Penalties, red zone.
What were the penalties today? They weren't that bad until
it wasn't, but they had two critical ones. In the red zone, one of those
on paper they were 4 of 29, which when you look at the grand scheme of things, listen, they won the time of possession battle by 9 minutes. So they were moving the football.
And they moved it even when Davis Mills came in the game. He had a number of quick completions. They still got into the red zone. If they would have scored a touchdown on that drive, it likely would have changed the game in some significant way. It's not finishing. I mean, it's just not executing. I mean, they say, oh, we have to continue to execute. You're not executing.
You're not starting.
But you're not doing it.
Tian, I feel you, man. I got you now. Thank you for giving me the pronunciation. I appreciate that. Justin says they're making CJ so things he isn't comfortable with instead of building around your franchise quarterback and playing to his style play. I don't think that's necessarily not wrong.
Yeah, I early in the season, Justin, I really felt that way. I think he's gotten a little bit more comfortable over the last 3 or 4 weeks, but I did feel like they were trying to force him into a certain way rather than building around him, just based on the look of his comfort level.
And the San Francisco game he may have seen the light
maybe
after that game or during that game, like this is the death by 1,000 cuts, that this can actually work, because that's what they did. Although once you got to the inside the 20, things happen. Justin says that's what you expect in the Ryans era, undisciplined team, penalties killing drives. Not wrong there. Not wrong there. All right, everybody. We can go around and round and round and round, which we typically have done with these, but...
And we will tonight.
We will. Thank you. Reggie Atatula from Sports Radio 610 will be here. We will also have Seth Payne, former Texan, as well, from Sports Radio 610. And then we'll also talk Texas A&M Aggies football with David Nuno from Texags. So that is on the big show tonight. Which of these words? I was thinking this one.
I think expected is the winner. I think it nails what happened today and.
Although I think they actually
2 weeks ago.
Performed a little bit better than expected for me, because they were moving the football.
They started out better. They just couldn't.
All right, so the word is they couldn't. The word is expected following this Texans lost to the Denver Broncos. Broncos improved to 7-2. The Texans dropped to 3-5. That's going to do it here from the KHO U11 newsroom. For Zach, I'm Jason. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for participating, and we'll see you later on KHO U11 Sports Extra.